हाय एवरीवन। मैं हूं आपकी दोस्त इस चैनल की होस्ट RI B.Ed Pro and here I am to guide you through your educational journey. So today in the series of education and development we will be talking about the interface between political process and education. आज हम पढ़ेंगे कैसे political processes education को influence करते हैं and vice versa, that is education कैसे political process को impact करता है. So let's start. Okay, first of all, let's understand what is politics and what is education. तो पॉलिटिक्स कंप्राइज करता है हमारे पॉलिटिकल ग्रुप्स को जो हमारी सोसाइटी के अंदर एक सोशल ऑर्डर मेंटेन करके रखते हैं एंड एजुकेशन कंप्राइज करता है फॉर्मल एंड नॉन फॉर्मल एजुकेशन सिस्टम को एंड बोथ ऑफ देम हैव अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स एंड मल्टीफेसेड रिलेशनशिप विच मीन्स कि वो बहुत डायनामिक है, पल पल बदलती रहती है। साथ ही में इट्स नॉट जस्ट वन वे कि वो एक दूसरे को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, बट दे आर मल्टीपल वेज इन विच दे इन्फ्लुएंस ईच अदर. Now, when we say that education is enveloped in a political setting, this means कि education जो है एक political setting में बहुत तरीके से और बहुत levels पे influence होती है. We cannot just say that okay government is sitting at the center and वो influence कर रही है. नहीं, national level पे भी it's getting influence, regional level पे भी it's getting influence and local level पे भी it's getting influence by multiple actors. तो हम कुछ नाम ले देते हैं, जैसे national level पे भी say legislative, regional level पे we call it executive and at local level say we the judicial system. तो ये एक दूसरे को म्यूचुअली सपोर्ट भी करते हैं और कभी कभी दे बिकम ऑल्सो कॉम्पिटिटिव इन नेचर. लेट्स सी हाउ. तो यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें एजुकेशन कैसे इन्वॉल्व्ड एक पॉलिटिकल सेटिंग में, सो यू कैन सी एट द नेशनल लेवल वी आर कॉलिंग इट एज लेजिस्लेटिव, एट द गवर्नमेंट सॉरी रीजनल लेवल पे वी आर कॉलिंग इट एज एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड एट द लोकल लेवल वी आर कॉलिंग इट जुडिशियल. Now they are having an influence on education as education is also impacting them. See these arrows, they are both sided. So they are impacting the education and education भी politics को influence करती है. Similarly, apart from all these government systems, politics हर जगह पे है. वैसे ऑफिस में चल रही है, स्कूल में चल रही है, फ्रेंड सर्कल में चल रही है. So parents group, ethnic group, social class group, special interest group, mass communication media, religious groups, neighborhoods और community groups, all these are little political settings जो education के ऊपर impact रखती है और education के through impacted भी होती हैं. एजुकेशन के अंदर आ जाता है हमारा फॉर्मल एंड नॉन फॉर्मल प्रोग्राम्स, देन फिलोसफी, सर्टेन गोल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, करिकुलम, टीचिंग मेथड्स, evaluation methods, certificates, degrees, diplomas, and obviously the students and the staff. Okay, now let's understand politicization of education. Politicization of education का बेसिकली ये मतलब है कि एक थर्ड पार्टी, एक एक्सटर्नल ग्रुप जिसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है एजुकेशन सिस्टम के साथ, वो डायरेक्टली इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है पॉलिसीज को भी एंड उसके कंटेंट, एजुकेशन के कंटेंट को भी. अब ये थर्ड पार्टीज कौन है, ये एक्सटर्नल ग्रुप्स कौन है? दे कैन बी सर्टेन एनजीओज, दे कैन बी सम रिलीजियस ग्रुप्स एंड दे आल्सो कैन बी सम प्राइवेट कॉर्पोरेशंस विद their own agendas. Let's see how. See, so they can be certain NGOs which are advocating for sex education. They want the content of sex education to be included in the school curriculum, or they may be advocating for the drug prevention related content or health initiatives to be included in the school curriculum. Then there can be some religious groups which want or they have a specific interest कि religious ideologies को भी school के curriculum में include किया जाए. Then there can be some political interest groups जो चाहते हैं कि माइनॉरिटी राइट्स के ऊपर बात की जाए, डाइवर्सिटी के ऊपर बात की जाए, या कुछ भी उनका जो नेशनलिस्ट एजेंडा है वो एजुकेशनल कंटेंट के थ्रू हम स्टूडेंट्स तक पहुंचा पाए. इसी चीज को हम बोलते हैं पॉलिटिसाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन. दीज आर द स्मॉल स्मॉल मीडियम्स जहाँ से पॉलिटिक्स स्कूल के अंदर, एजुकेशन के अंदर घुसनी स्टार्ट होती है. नाउ talking about the main thing, that is forms of political influence in education. So basically कैसे कैसे और किस तरह से हमारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज या पॉलिटिक्स एजुकेशन के अंदर इम्पैक्ट कर रही है. सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द फर्स्ट पॉइंट, इट्स द करिकुलम ओरिएंटेशन. कई बार हम अपना करिकुलम स्कूल का इस तरह से रखते हैं जो ईदर पेट्रियोटिज्म एंड नेशनलिज्म को स्टूडेंट्स के अंदर इनकलकेट करेगा, या फिर कई बार ऐसा होता है कि डिनेशनलाइजेशन की फीलिंग्स को प्रमोट करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी हैव सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज इन स्कूल सच एज एनसीसी कैंप्स. So these NCC camps basically develop the feeling of nationalism in students and certain discipline in students, जिसके चलते आगे जाके स्टूडेंट में भी आर्मी, एयरफोर्स इस तरह के occupations को join करना चाहता है, they want to serve the country. On the other hand, there is a denationalization thing where we are encouraging students to question or oppose the political parties or the existing political parties. We are also instigating them कि you participate in some anti-national activities, and all these ultimately lead to students when they grow up, they can, even plan a entire thing, agenda to overthrow the framework of governance. So this can also be a way where politics is in. On second, we have favoritism and regional disparities. So in certain regions, what happened? Political favoritism comes and acts. What does it mean? So कई पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज एक पर्टिकुलर रीजन को, एक पर्टिकुलर प्लेस को फेवर करती है, एंड दे एलोकेट देयर रिसोर्सेज टुवर्ड्स द स्कूल्स इन दोज पर्टिकुलर रीजन्स. इस वजह से क्या होता है, दे गेट द सुपीरियर क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन क्योंकि वहाँ पे रिसोर्सेज ज़्यादा है, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट बाकी प्लेसेस, बाकी जगह पे कई बार स्टूडेंट्स आर नॉट एबल टू enjoy those kind of resources and the quality education. For example, Delhi is what India's capital. तो वहाँ के जो schools हैं, ultimately they get a lot of resources in those educational institutions, ultimately leading to the superior quality and of course the better results. Okay, the third point is religious indoctrination. So what happens is certain political parties, they have affinity towards a particular religion, and they try to incorporate or change the laws in such a manner that okay, religious education is also included in the curriculum. And in the long term, this may lead that to students having an orthodox outlook towards a particular religion. And हो भी सकता है, there may be a chance that in future they may lead to certain conflicts such as the religious wars. Talking about the financial support and accessibility, which is the fourth point. See, political parties, they have a control over funding for education, and they also decide that okay, who will receive the financial aid such as scholarships and all. Okay, so if we see an example, Indian government has implemented the caste-based quota system. So according to the caste, there are certain quotas which are allocated for the people of backward social classes, for the marginalized communities, and they get the chances in the educational system. You all are aware of that. This is criticized by a lot of people who are not getting the opportunities. But anyway, nevertheless, it is still continuing. Why? Because ultimately, this is fulfilling a political agenda. Yeah, politics and the political parties. Then we have the fifth, curriculum content and the admission policies. Now, politicians, they have an influence on the content which is being taught in school. They can change the textbooks or maybe, prioritize one subject over the other. They can also modify the admission procedure for a particular ethnic identity or minority, obviously in exchange for some future political support. Then we have the sixth as scale of socio-political activism. कई बार uh, हम देखते हैं कि we cannot openly talk about a political issue in our country. So this includes the freedom which is given to students and staff to discuss a certain political issues. Political parties जो power में होती हैं कई बार इस चीज को suppress करती हैं. If they feel that the students are or the student voices instigating the political protest, they try to suppress their opinions, और ऐसा बोल दिया जाता है कि okay, whosoever will talk on this topic, they can have some, they can go to jail or something like that. तो कितना freedom है, ये भी एक political influence के अंडर आता है. Then we have the higher and lower representation of poor. तो एक political party में कितना representation है poor का, that also influences the quality of education. If there is a higher representation of poor in political parties, that means कि they will have more funding for public schools. जो टैक्स रेवेन्यू है वो अच्छा खासा पब्लिक स्कूल्स की तरफ एलोकेट होगा, जिसकी वजह से अल्टीमेटली द क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन विल इम्प्रूव. अगर लोअर रिप्रेजेंटेशन है देन व्हाट हैपेंस, फंडिंग यूजुअली प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की तरफ जाती है एंड अल्टीमेटली दे गेट the better quality of education because obviously the rich have the finances to spend on expensive private education, तो वो अपने बच्चों को प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में ही डालते हैं. Now, we have discussed the influence of political processes on education. Let's discuss the vice versa, that is, influence of education on politics. First of all, political affiliation and citizenship training. जब हम स्कूल जाते हैं, we get a good education, and हर स्कूल में सिखाया जाता है कि कैसे a good citizen of the country बनना है, और हमारे अंदर नेशनलिज्म की भावना foster की जाती है. And this is also a place where we are made familiar with the politics. Political socialization होता है जब हम history पढ़ते हैं, civics पढ़ते हैं. So we get to know about the politics, and then students start forming their own opinion, which may be aligning with the ruling party or it may be against the ruling party. Now, second is educated citizens demand more from the politicians. So people who are educated, they have higher expectation of their governments. They demand transparency. आप देखते हैं RTI वगैरह वो लोग डालते हैं to get answers to some particular questions. They believe in good governance. So basically, they have high expectations of the government. They are aware of their rights. Then we talk about the political critics. तो कई बार हम educational institutions में देखते हैं there are certain professors or the academicians, people who are doing research on these subjects, and they have certain opinions of the actions of the or the works done by the political parties, and they are not very happy with it, and they openly speak about it, and when they speak about it they are passing on their opinions to the next generation. So in this way they are stimulating the youth, and they are spreading the political ideologies जो यूजुअली अलाइन नहीं करती है पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के साथ. अब इसके दो चीजें हो सकते हैं, या तो द क्रिटिक्स उनकी बात सुनी जाए एंड दे आर इंक्लूडेड इन द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट दे ब्रिंग अबाउट द एप्रोप्रिएट चेंजेस इन द सिस्टम. और नेगेटिव सिनेरियो ये हो सकता है कि उनकी बात ना सुनी जाए एंड दे सप्रेस द यूथ्स ओपिनियन. Education also promotes the political stability and social justice. So basically, education जब आप पा लेते हैं, you're more aware of your right. You believe in creating a more equal society and a just society जहाँ सबको justice मिलता हो, inequality ना हो, racism ना हो, human rights सबके fulfill हो, and all this thing. Then also when you are educated, you make more informed choices when choosing your leaders, when choosing the political parties, while giving the votes. Votes देना भी बढ़ता है क्योंकि लोगों को लगता है कि हाँ हम वोट देंगे, then only ultimately the right kind of leader will be elected. And also informed होता है, ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ मेरा दोस्त दे रहा है तो I'll vote. No, they are going to make the informed choices during elections कि okay, this particular leader is doing a good work, so I think I should vote for them. Okay, so that's all about the influence of political process and education on each other. Thanks a lot. If there are any questions, you can comment in the comment box. Please like the video. Thank you.